Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of 30 Minutes, the interactive program of Trust Television. I'm Manir Dan Ali, and my guest today is a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Yahya Abubakar Abdullahi, who before he became a senator was an academic, and after being an academic at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, was also in the Federal Civil Service, rising to the highest post of Federal Permanent Secretary. Senator Yahya, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
I know that the issue before the National Assembly that is currently generating a lot of interest is your seeming impatience with President Muhammadu Buhari. Why have matters come to the pass that you are even contemplating the I-word impeachment?
Thank you very much. Well, this thing has a lot of things in coming. I think yourself and the viewers will recall that when this particular Ninth Senate came into office in May 2019, coming from the 8th Senate when there was some tension between the National Assembly and the President, we thought that the best way in which we can really get the nation, to really get the best out of government is if the two arms of government cooperate with each other
and work
together.
Together, yes.
So we were quite convinced, that with the two arms of government working together, Nigerians can get the best out of the performance of the government. So, in fact, for that kind of commitment, we even earned the sobriquet
exactly
of
rubber
stamp in the National Assembly. But we did it actually out of conviction, that we thought that with that kind of commitment, will help the administration, because we believe, and I think we still, it's correct that there is one government, and that government contains both the legislature and the executive government. Once the two are not working together, then there is a deficit in governance. This is fundamental anywhere.
So, but what has changed to make you now
what has changed is there are two issues really, or three. The first one is the issue of insecurity. How it has deteriorated over time, and we think it has not been managed properly. The second issue, the economy, the way in which the economy has been managed. Of course, we know that there are some external shocks and there are also internal challenges. But we still believe that much could have been done, to make sure that we don't run up to a situation where the country becomes insolvent. So the other issues are issue of governance. That's the third issue.
But isn't there then a fourth issue, election?
Well,
you are doing this with an eye on the election, that you want to maybe come out, senators or members of the National Assembly, smelling of roses, as if you are not part of how we got here.
Well, it's not, we are not part. We knew we are part of governance. And that's why we are saying the governance is the fourth issue. And elections, the Electoral Act, and how we conduct ourselves, the way in which the parties operate, the way in which the government manages, the affairs of state, the way in which states, the relationship between states and local governments and local government and state, the constitutional arrangement of the nation and everything. We are all part of this thing.
But why is it that it's only at the 11th hour that you are coming to?
No, it has been brewing for quite some time. It has been brewing for quite some time. You will see that when we started all these issues, the first thing that we did was to convoke a roundtable discussion on security of the nation. And we invited everybody, all the security agencies and everything were there. We sat down, and I think only Daily Trust came up and really captured the thing in an editorial, because at that time it was the height of COVID when we were doing this. We started this around January, February 2020. We did all the interactions, then COVID just came in. We were only able to conclude this in around May. We did the executive salary. executive summary, and we had all the report, which we gave to all the security agencies.
But it didn't seem to have any impact.
I personally, took copies of that report to the chief of staff to the president.
That is in your position as the
leader of the Senate.
Leader of the Senate.
Yes. We gave him the copy and everything. In every single recommendation and work that we have done, nobody has called up to say that what we have said there is not germane. And we know that every single sentence there is actionable. If it's not actionable, come and tell us why it is not. Up to now, I don't think anybody has looked at that document. So the same kind of issues that even the security agencies, when they were before the committee of the Senate, admitted some of the lapses in the way in which they are operating. And we sat down with them and worked out the ways and means of correcting these lapses. But at the end of the day, I think the entire document was thrown out. So
it just seemed to have joined the retinue of reports that are usually there in government
so nothing was done.
Storage.
And this security situation kept deteriorating. People from outside say, okay, sack the chief of staff, sack the chief. It's not actually of sacking. Whoever you bring there, if you don't sit down and do the right thing and actually, get your feet dirty and get the work done, coordinate, get the institutions to work, do the necessary reforms, carry out the necessary interactions and reforms, that will ensure that these institutions work together. The intelligence agency collect the right actual human intelligence from electronic intelligence, everything, so that you can sit down and really monitor. You cannot get anywhere.
But recently there was a report quoting the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives who was saying that on the Kuje attack, the DSS, the Department of State Security, issued 44 intelligence reports on the imminence of that attack.
You are just confirming what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the left does not know what the right is doing. The right does not know what the left is doing. The security agencies, they themselves understood that they are not coordinated and they are not working together.
But why is this so? Isn't there somebody who is looking at the big picture and ensuring that people are doing their job?
That's what should happen. But it seems nobody cares.
And are you, by your act of now beginning to talk of impeachment, are you all laying the blame on the president's doorstep?
The president is the commander-in-chief. The president is the head of all the national security agencies, and he had the mandate of all Nigerians to secure, their lives and properties, and also make sure that they have better welfare matters accorded to them.
But he seems to be exasperated. You remember what he said when he visited Kuje after they attacked the prison? He did say there seems to be lack of intelligence and was surprised at all of that.
It was surprised,
and even the Senate president, when he visited...
But who was responsible? He has all the security agencies under his hands. So he complained. Who is complaining to who? To who?
Maybe there is something that the National Assembly should have done, which it hasn't done.
What can we do? We are not an executive. We are not implementing the thing. All that we are supposed to be doing at the National Assembly, we have done. And that's why you can see the level of anger yesterday in the Senate. We went into a closed session. The level of anger is not just minority parties.
And it's not just politicians with an eye on the election who want to shift the blame to somebody else.
The problem with politicians, with us politicians, is that no politician wants a situation where he cannot go home. He cannot drive freely. And even when they hibernate here in Abuja, they cannot come out because for fear of being kidnapped or something. A politician is one person who appreciates freedom more than any other person, because he wants to be free to move out and campaign and do all that.
Well, but a lot of politicians are said to abdicate that responsibility. They stay cooked up in Abuja and don't visit their constituency.
No, not
all of them could be.
No. I have been there. I had the same kind of view like you before I went to the National Assembly, but I don't think it's true.
When last did you visit your own constituency?
Last week.
Okay. And you are there for how long?
I was there for about 3 or 4 days. Last week I was there for about 2 weeks. And I go around and my people, I know even if something small happens now, I can be able to know what is happening in my constituency more than the people who are there.
Is it because you are part of Kebbi State? It's not like, say, Zuru and other areas where this terrorism is happening, where this banditry is happening.
Even in Zulu, the problem is that we have people. We have people right down, and with this new modern technology, whatever is happening, you can get in real life. From people who relate to you on phone and who there is WhatsApp, there are all this, you can even get the pictorial representation, whatever is going on.
So what's the sense you are getting from your own constituency, especially about this move that you seem to be wanting to take?
Oh, well, the people of this country are exasperated. The people of this country have had, we came with a lot of hope, that there would be peace and security and there would better lives will be much better, but they're getting worse, terrible and brutish. People fear cannot sleep with their two eyes closed. People fear they don't have the basic means of life, and still their lives are also in danger.
But isn't that view of yours now being colored by the fact that you have moved from the ruling party to the opposition party to secure your seat in the Senate?
No, it's not really that one. Even those people who have even become secured their seat to be governors, when you go to the Senate, or who have secured seat to come back, all of them. It's a unanimous position. The only difference was that the minority want to use the word, impeachment notice. The other people said no. Just the constitutional, as though that we can use our constitutional powers, to make sure that Nigerians do not become the victims of terrorists and criminals.
So are you saying that your own president, that is the Senate president, is isolated on this matter because he seems to be wanting to protect the president?
Well, no, he seemed not to use the word impeachment, and he's together with some other senators too. They said, look, the constitutional powers of the Senate includes notice of impeachment. Why do you have to mention it? That's their argument. And the other issue on which I also agree with them is that if you send a notice of impeachment now to the president, you are telling the terrorists that they have won. They will celebrate. There will be celebration. Like these people who are even the government now are even impeaching the president for the action that we have taken to attack Kuje, to attack the Brigade of Guards. It will embolden them. So there is no need for you to even mention that word. Just go ahead and say we use our constitutional powers, means, and take constitutional steps, to ensure that our people are not battered to submission by terrorists and criminals.
So some will say it's just that Nigerian word shakara.
I mean, it's just semantics,
No, I mean, even the fact of threatening to do the impeachment, because you are saying there are other considerations that you don't want the terrorists to look like they have won all of that. So
yes,
those things will creep in, so there won't be any serious in the matter.
Because I know that when the Senate comes back, if the motion had gone on, then the Senate has already sent out its word. But now the motion has not been debated. So maybe when we come back from the recess, this issue will come up again. We hope that some very serious issues will be taken up. The Minister of Information has recently said that, I think today, I read it today, that the National Security Council is going to meet today. The President directed they meet today, maybe as a result of what happened in the Senate yesterday, or for some other reason. We don't know what they are going to do, what proactive measures they are going to take. But I know that when the Senate comes back, this issue is going to come back again, because the security and lives of Nigerians are what is keeping all of us there. And once Nigerians are not secure, then what is the whole purpose of governance? What is the whole purpose of a government being there when people cannot even sit down, move from point A to point B, and cannot even sleep in their houses, free from fear, and terrible expectations. So
I think on that note, we'll go on a short break and resume the conversation when we return. Welcome back to the program. Before we went on the break, you seem hopeful that the national security meeting, which is almost routine on Thursdays, another one is happening as we speak. Do you expect much to come out of it simply because the National Assembly is getting uneasy over the whole security situation?
Well, it's my hope that much better results come out of this meeting. There have been previous meetings, and we don't know literally what they do discuss. But I hope that this one will be different, because the threats are palpable, and people have seen the outcome.
But why did it take even the National Assembly, the executive, so long until we start seeing these issues in Abuja, the capital, when people have been killed and are being abducted on a daily basis?
Well, you see,
in states like Katsina, Zamfara, Kebbi, Sokoto, Niger, Kaduna, and a number of others.
You see, these issues have started. In fact, when you looked at the situation, it was there. It started, it was there in Plateau. Then it graduated to Bauchi. Then it became Boko Haram, a much wider thing. Then something like that was taken off again in Kano. In Zaria, this Ansar, came up around Zaria, Kaduna, and all this thing. So the issue that, the whole issue, for me, my understanding that in the nation's security architecture over time has been deteriorating, precisely because the system of governance has given room to empty spaces and corrupt institutions. And once you have corrupt institutions, the authority loses a moral authority, moral right to rule. And therefore, non-government actors, non-state actors come into...
Whether bandits, kidnappers, and others to fill in the gap.
Exactly. And once that happens, those non-state actors will have room to now organize themselves. So it is a metamorphosis of this thing. It has now come to face us like a monster. Now, when you look at what is happening, the National Assembly did not just wake up now. It has been a process. There were so many committees. In the 7th Senate, there was the Kabiru Gaya Committee, which looked at the security situation. And I can remember when I was a PAMSEC, even before I became a PAMSEC, I was secretary to the Presidential Committee on National Security, which the late Professor Tamuno,
Tikene
Tamuno was chairing with the former Inspector General of Police, Gamboji Meta, and several illustrious Nigerians, including the present Emir of Gondu. We went all over this country and catalogued what the major security flashpoints in this country were. We submitted a copious, a big report to the president.
Which was conveniently kept aside.
Several security conferences and workshops and everything were done. Nothing came out of it.
So you are suggesting that the Nigerian state is so weakened, so indifferent to what is going on, except when it's stressed to its survival,
exactly,
nothing gets done.
Now the thing has gotten done because now the albatross has come out, the monster has come out with its fangs open.
To the extent that even some of the ragtag people are threatening president, to kidnap president, to kidnap governor.
I mean, who could have thought?
Do you see it as just laughable as the information minister is saying?
No, it's not laughable. It's not laughable. It's that they have become so emboldened, because of my own thought, because of the their own perception, of the weakness, of government and complete lack of coordination, of action. Now, go to state governance. When you go to the level of state governance, the entire structure of state governance has collapsed.
And this is after the state governors and the state governments have more or less abolished or taken over the local government
structure. They have taken over the local government, and that's the problem, because they are not even there to govern. They have weakened the local authority structures.
So as somebody who has studied it, because your PhD is on rural sociology,
yes,
and you can see the effect of this for a long time. I mean, now a lot of people have been pauperized, people have been killed, they have sold their properties to get back people who have been kidnapped. The whole area is now depopulated.
Exactly.
Where do we begin? What is to be done?
Well, you have to sit down and rebuild the system of governance. You have to sit down and get back You know, now, for example, take a small village head. The entire structure of governance stays at the ward level. And at the ward level, the people who are ward councillors are just people who are cutting their teeth in politics. What do they know? What kind of people? That's why in the report that we have sent to the government, we said that you rebuild the security architecture so that you include all those people, you know, the clerics, every unit of governance will have a security council. You know, and then you include the traditional authority structure, build it down there because, you know, now take a situation, a ward head or a village head in the rural area. He will wake up in the morning, he doesn't even have 10 naira. Any terrorist who can come and give him 100 naira will take over the state.
So that is what maybe explains even the Endo Tondaji giving
exactly.
a traditional title to a well-known terrorist.
Because how are you sure that that man is responsible for his own security and for what he uses to even feed his own family?
Yeah, also
now bandits are the people who determine whether you farm or you don't. People just don't know the extent of this the dysfunctionality of the state. What has gone on? That is the palpable fear. You know?
But it appears as if the political leaders and even the civil authority, I'm talking of the civil service, appears too weak to do anything.
Why the civil service? It's not there. No, tell me how many state governments, tell me ministries, works, housing, rural development, electricity, all these kind of things. Tell me in which state government do these operations, the state civil services, they have completely broken down. Most of the governors have migrated from the state and come to Abuja.
And then the economy is in such a bad
how
shape.
many governors stay in their state governors lodge, 20 days in a month, continuously.
But then what are you, the political leaders, what are you doing? This problem is so clear, you are just telling us you are cataloging
we are saying, that's why we are saying. We have go and read the report that we have.
Yeah, but the report is kept somewhere and no action is done.
That's the danger. You see, that's the danger. That's the danger. It's not that we don't know. But those people who are supposed to act on that kind of thing, there is the level of commitment, political commitment to public service, and political commitment of politicians, to getting this thing done. That's the kind of thing that is not there, either out of complete ignorance or lack of appreciation of the dangers that we face going forward.
But with this kind of serious challenge...
And also to add,
yes.
Also, the issue of political recruitment. What are the character of the people that you recruit through? And that's why we have always insisted that if you have political institutions and political parties, they are the primary vehicle for recruitment. But the members of the party now have been completely disenfranchised. The governors have taken over. So there is no need for you even to be a member of a political party.
And that,
because it's the governor who determines who votes who becomes what, who occupies which office, who goes to the National Assembly, who goes to Senate. He's the one who will change the delegates, who won't determine. That's why we insisted, that there should be direct election.
But why are our institutions so weak that there is no check and balance? You have the legislature, at least the national legislature has some balls. It can take decisions, it can maybe take a position. Now you are even threatening to impeach the president. But you cannot even imagine that happening in any state.
How many state governments can even threaten that? How many state legislators can even do that? Because they are handpicked by the governors who they are supposed to supervise. And for us, with the way these kind of primaries have gone, if we are not lucky, those people who are going to come in the future in the House of Representatives and it's also in the Senate would have no balls to even do what we are doing today.
So they would be just like yes men.
Exactly. We will just become another state House of Assembly, where even when we do constitutional changes to empower the local governments, to empower the houses of assembly themselves, the governors tell them not to sign.
And they don't.
And they don't.
So, but
This is the danger.
where will all this take us? I mean, you have a democracy that is not delivering results.
Not,
I mean, the only result is maybe to you, the big politicians. You are doing well. You are looking well. You have properties. You have. You can travel anywhere. Your interest is well taken care of. But the ordinary person
it's not all
down there in Zamfara, in Katsina, in all over actually Nigeria is just left to fend for himself. He's at the mercy of bandits and criminals. And
it's not all politicians that enjoy those perks that you are talking about. And let me tell you,
did you give up yours?
I don't think that anybody, any member of the legislature now or today, who has come and made money by being a member of the Senate or House of Representatives. Most people who live, go and ask them, most people who live, either they came rich and end up poorer. How many of them now? There are some legislators who became senators several times now, cannot even feed themselves. That I can tell you.
But many Nigerians will find that fantastic, good to believe.
Yes, but I'm telling you because I know them. But what I'm telling you is that it's the system, the commitment to the management of the political system and the commitment to ensure the security and welfare of the people and the lack of capacity to understand. People think that they know what they don't know. What you don't know, you don't know. Try to know. If you want to lead, you must also have the mental capacity to understand what is going on. And also you have the commitment. You have to have the commitment to make right what you think is wrong.
To come back to the issue, do you feel as if you could actually impeach President Buhari? Because so far, all attempts in that direction, I mean, not him, with Obasanjo, they didn't get very far.
We don't know whether it will happen. But one thing that I can tell you, the former leader of the Senate, even during the time when it came to the when we were talking about the direct primary and indirect primary, the senators wanted to override the president's veto. People who are there, the ministers were running helter-skelter because the ministers and the governors, were trying to prevent the direct primary because they don't want to empower party members to elect delegates, and the whole thing ended. How the whole thing ended.
You buckled.
No, we didn't. Unfortunately, the House was not sitting because we have to do it together with the House. But I was the one who was collecting the signatures. In the Senate, we collected on that day alone, we collected more than 85 signatures who agreed, to override the veto of the president.
But it didn't happen because the lower
house. The House was not there at that time. So by the time we went on recess, we came back. There were some negotiations and things were done there, and we made some amendments, which we sent so that America would promote it. But what I'm telling you, from what is there now, and from what I could see in the Senate, it's just a question of language, semantics.
No, but what I mean is, again, don't you think similar thing will happen? This thing, the tampers will calm down, and then you'll forget about the villagers who are being killed. You'll forget about the difficulty that Nigerians are facing. You'll forget about the fact that now we have incurred so much debt that all our revenue is going to just pay all the debts.
With the revenue cannot even pay your debt. So you cannot even pay salaries. You cannot even pay salaries. So I don't know even how you are going to make the budget of 2023. You have to really even thank the National Assembly. Because this National Assembly is the one that really made the legislations that ensured that we came out of 2 recessions.
But at the end of the day, as they say, the test of the pudding is in the eating. People are hurting. Nigerians are hurting.
Yes.
And then the National Assembly seems to be playing politics, is taking this populist position, and then it will come down, and then things will just continue the way they are, in spite of the dire challenges facing the country.
Well, I cannot predict what the National Assembly is going to do, because whatever we do is a game of numbers, and whatever is going to happen, it has to happen in a concerted understanding between the House of Representatives and the Senate. But I can tell you that from the mood that I have seen, and the Senate that I know, the people who are running the executive arm of government, sincerely speaking, really have to sit up because anything could happen.
On that note, we've come to the end of this edition of 30 Minutes. Thank you. Viewers, we've come to the end of this edition of 30 Minutes. Keep a date with us.